like a Amy Winehouse. You know, she can get funky too if she wants to, but she's very much that like saloon type sound. You know what I'm saying? Lounge sound. And yeah, you just know about Amy, like, man, you got to go see Amy type thing. You know, she'll be singing at the thing on this Friday. Like, she got that type of voice, just that standout voice, man. And it's just, yeah, it's just amazing. So yeah, a woman that understands her music, loves her music, has a passion for it, I find that to be a turn on.
Roll me, Mac.
What do you consider to be peace in your life? What I find to be peace in my life is silence. Yeah, silence is golden, as the cliche statement is, but being able to sit in silence pretty much clears your mind of a lot of noise. No pun intended, you know what I mean? It's silence, but what I mean is like the chatter that goes on in your head, the insecurities that come up, anger that comes up, misused emotion comes up. Silence allows you to just sit with that feeling and let it pass. You don't try to control anything, you just accept it. And I find that to be very peaceful. Which is why, you know, going to the beach, yes, definitely peace. And sometimes with just the waves and the chair, and then just the area itself is, you know, serves it for me. But of course, you know, bring in music, whether that's with headphones or just a Bluetooth speaker, but being able to listen to the ocean and what she says to you, Oceana, what I refer to her as, like, I refer to it as Oceana, and very much a healing relationship that we have. Anytime I go see her, I find myself being free of the mind, of worry, of stress. Just, it's a way of erasing the corrupted data that you obtained during the week or whatever that period of time, to be able to sit at the beach and leave your phone in the car if you can, but leave your phone in the car. I like to take my iPad, that's where I'll get the music from, but leave the phone in the car and just be one with nature. And I just find it to be healing. It's very peaceful. Peace also is that not responding to anybody, not feeling the obligation to respond to anyone, not wanting to be that previous people pleaser that we once were. Just to sit there and be like, I'm not responsible for anyone. These are all grown. You know, these are all grown people. I'm not responsible for them, so they'll be okay. If I have to take a minute for myself, they'll be okay. And to get myself back together and just take a pause. Literally take a pause, allow your brain to recalibrate itself, because when we stop using it, when we just sit still and like in meditation or just silence in general, the brain is allowed to recalibrate itself. At least I found that to be beneficial for me when I do want to just prevent myself from being overwhelmed anymore. I'll sit with that and I look at that as kind of like peaceful. Peace is easy listening music. Easy listening music I find to be very peaceful. Just like a nice bossa nova sound, Diana Krall sound, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra kind of sound. Even Sade for sure. Sade definitely has that easy listening, calm vibe. And even John Legend's, a lot of John Legend's, I think it's the Again album, if I'm not mistaken, his second one that he came out with after Get Lifted, that has a lot of that kind of like easy listening, something you would hear in like a lounge or a coffee shop. I like that style of music. Don't get me wrong, I love my funk. I love classic R&B, art, funk. soul, even some gospel records, everything I grew up on, and even pop and, you know, heavy metal, rock, all of that. I love all that shit, but nothing gets me going the way that I believe that easy listening does. So I find myself listening to that more often than anything else. Like a Kenny G. Kenny G is almost like my go-to when I'm at the beach. Kenny puts me in that mindset of I don't have to do anything. I just kind of, you know, kick back, relax, and brainstorm or not think at all. If it comes to it, just literally get to the point where you're not thinking at all. And I enjoy that peace that comes with that. Peace is being around people, finding comfort in people who find silence to be peaceful as well, and know how to have a conversation without having to dominate the conversation or try to prove somebody wrong. It's great to have healing conversations with people, and people that are willing to listen to what you have to say and definitely give what they have to say. They're not afraid to share what they have to say, but they also have the patience to allow you to speak as well. And without getting into and necessary conflict, not being afraid of necessary conflict too. That's peaceful. You know, just a misunderstanding. We can kind of discuss it. We don't necessarily have to prepare to fight just to make a point. You know, I don't find that to be peaceful, but I guess I enjoy my peace. Peace is everything. Like being able to sitting in the man cave in the garage sometimes is peaceful. Sitting outside in the back of the house and just, you know, my backyard is just surrounded in like a bunch of trees and shit. So and then I got like a little, you know, back patio set out there. So take my Bluetooth speaker and just kind of vibe, you know what I'm saying? So that I find that to be peaceful too. And then one of those things that never gets taken for granted is getting back from like the gym or getting home from work and kind of just sitting in your car with whatever music playing, not loud, but just, you know, low enough, but you just sit in the car before getting out the car for like maybe all of 5 minutes or so. I find that to be peaceful too. A cold room is definitely peaceful. I find that to be peaceful too, just to be able to have like AC, like preferably like in a hotel room, because I don't have to pay for the bill, but having like you know, hotel room set on like 65 or something. And if I can help it, bring a fucking fan. I've had to do that actually, to bring like my box fan with me to the to the hotel. But that you know, I think it's more so the sound as well as how cold it gets, man. Like that's how it's easier to fall asleep. There's a science based fact that, you know, you fall asleep faster in a cold room versus a hot one. Obviously, to me that's the worst, man. That's the worst, to be in a hot room. Especially like in a hot room and then people snore. And as a snorer, you know, I can imagine how wild that must be for the outsiders having to try to sleep in a hot room, and then you got the three little bears in the room with you. But yeah, I love a cold room. I find that to be peaceful. Nature sounds, man. I create peace wherever. I try to create peace wherever I go. When I'm at work, I play the, you know, waterfalls or a babbling brook or something like that. Even in the house, you know, I find that to be peaceful too. Just tell, you know, that girl that we use so much to play songs and stuff, but asking her to play babbling brook, and it makes it peaceful for me. I like that. I like the silence. I'll take some sunlight. But those are the things I find to be peaceful. In what ways do you find yourself being turned on by a woman? Turned on by a woman in many ways, actually. Beauty for sure, you know, it's number one. It's the first thing you see, of course. Like, if you're swiping right or whatever, that stuff, back when I used to do that shit, beauty's the first thing you see. When you're in a place, when you're walking in a store or wherever you are, walking somewhere else, the first thing you have on that person is their beauty. And then energy. You know what I'm saying? No, actually, I take that back. Energy, then beauty is what it is for me. But beauty is, you know, if it's just a downright attractive woman, don't necessarily have to try to get with her. But like, man, no, she's beautiful. I found her to be very attractive. You know, just symmetrically how her face is, and teeth, hair, skin tone, eyes, cheeks, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Accessories, maybe nose rings sometimes, earrings depending on how they're made, tattoos as well. Tattoos, you know, depending on how they're done. Not too much though, not too many on the tattoos, but yeah, you know, like that to me is, you know, it's a turn on. I definitely her intelligence, and what I mean by that is just the emotional intelligence of managing her own emotions, and knowing not to, you know, not projecting herself onto others, like a princess or something, like the world revolves around you type thing, and not so much that you know, always put herself to the back burner, but understands that she is human just like everybody else. That to me is a turn. I love that personality in a woman. Not so much the ones that just, again, they have to be the center of attention, like grandiose, look at me, or what's perceived by like Patti LaBelle or an Aretha Franklin and Mariah Carey type thing. You know what I'm saying? That to me, I'm not turned on by that. I wouldn't want to be with that. To me, that seems like a headache waiting to happen, a train wreck. Yeah, but somebody that understands their value, and but even if they do have things going on, they do not project that onto their peers. They do their best to, because obviously, you know, we're all human, but does her best to not project that onto others, and deals with it like an adult, not so much like a child. Healthy boundaries too. One that understands boundaries. Let's say that she once never had boundaries, and then starts to establish boundaries with others. I find that to be a turn on too. I mean, a lot of the mental health aspect of it is a turn on for me, because it's showing growth and an ability to, one, she can be submissive. At the same time, she's not going to let you take advantage of her in a way that, you know, that she's not okay with. You know, there's some other ways that I'm sure she'll be okay with you taking advantage of her, but I digress. One that knows her music. I don't care. It doesn't matter, like, if we listen to the same thing, but just one that knows her music in and out, knows what she likes, knows what she's into. Dare even try to share that music. If you are a fan of like funk, yeah, that's certainly a turn on in a sense. For me, I just find funk to be such a distinctive sound, and for me, it never ages. It's never aged. You know, I've been listening to the same funk record since I was a kid. That, you know, I was fortunate enough to be influenced by my father, and everybody else, you know, that was listening to funk. You know, that they had that impact onto me. So to have that sound, and you just point it out anywhere, and just feeling certain artists that have that with them, like somebody I really like. I don't really know her music like that, but I love her voice. Is Joss Stone. Joss Stone is definitely somebody you know, that I would separate from. Oh, it's just another what's the name singer or whatever, like Amy Winehouse. You know, she can get funky too if she wants to, but she's very much that like saloon type sound. You know what I'm saying? Lounge sound. And yeah, you just know about Amy, like, man, you gotta go see Amy type thing. You know, she'll be singing at the thing on this Friday. Like, she got that type of voice, just that standout voice, man. And it's just, yeah, it's just amazing. So yeah, a woman that understands her music, loves her music, has a passion for it. I find that to be a turn on. Let me see, another turn on, financially literate. Yeah, financially literate, financially sound, manages finances. You know what I'm saying? That's a turn on for sure. Within a woman to have that going together. The turn on for me is the woman that understands how attraction works. I think that is I think that's probably one of the biggest turn-ons for me, is like a woman who understands attraction in the sense of like masculine, the polarity, who understands masculine energy versus feminine energy. And so you don't have to so much teach this as much, but that's a turn on to me, to a woman that understands, all right, you know, all right, if he's showing me that he wants to operate in his masculine, and I feel safe around him, so I can, you know, I can show more of my feminine side. I can do more feminine things. I want to get, you know, dolled up, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to dates. I want to present my best to him because he's presenting his best to me. To me, that is a turn on by a woman that understands attraction, understands those things. I mean, fashion doesn't hurt either, you know, as far as a turn on for women. A woman that understands fashion, puts pride into appearance, and you know, knows how to get well put together as a woman. You know what I'm saying? Dresses and dresses like a feminine woman. You know, yeah, that what that does is create that attraction, that pull, that magnetic pull from the masculine to the feminine when a woman does operate in her, like I said, her feminine enough to where, all right, cool, I know that if I dress like this is the type of energy that I'm going to attract. It's one of those things, like, it's hard to really describe it, but you can just sense it when you're out. And energy, man, energy. That I really believe that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, the women that don't, you know, that can lose that tough edge, and lose the tough edge enough to where they don't mind getting dolled up, and, you know what I'm saying, being feminine and shit. That to me, I find that to be attractive. That's a turn on to me. By that, a woman who reads, you know, and reads. Yeah, the fiction stuff is cool too, but like reads things such as like self-help books. Because I mean, I definitely love a great self-help book, but something that teaches growth of the mind, spirituality type stuff, and whatever that is, whether you're, you know, if it's Christian based, if you're into Buddhism, if it's, you know, Hinduism, whatever your vice is, I like to think that is, you know, I find that to be like a turn on, just to have, it's something in conversation to add, whatever creates more conversation, and not surface based stuff, not to where we're just talking about materialistic things, but we're having thought-provoking conversation. That's a turn on to me, where she can share her own mind on various things that are not much ado about nothing news. You know what I'm saying? Like things that we're not talking about celebrity gossip or shit like that. You can talk about like what happened in childhood, what happened, you know, what would I do differently about our society on this particular thing? How can we improve these things, you know, or even a little bit of, I say a little bit of comedy too, you know, can have that appreciation for comedy. That's always great, because, you know, comedy helps us smile. Comedy helps us, you know, laugh and get over a lot of things that were meant to tear us down. So I look at those things as stuff that I would consider to be a turn on in a woman. So, who was the first girl to break your heart? That I can remember, I believe it was 7th grade. It was a Brittany Sullivan. And Brittany Sullivan, how it went down is that she broke up with me and then got with like my friend Marquise, you know, little middle school kid shit. Is how that went down. And then on top of that, I had to see them, and we all went to the plaza that weekend, and just, it's a skating rink, you know, in Portsmouth growing up. But yeah, I had to go to, I ended up going to the plaza. My mom, for once, let me go to the skating rink, and when, you know, got there, I just happened to see them. So you got that awkward ass feeling, you know, when you're around somebody that you used to be in a relationship with. And just think about like little kid shit. Like this stuff doesn't mean much of anything. You know what I mean? We were kids, so we know what the fuck we were doing. But I do remember, that feeling of, girl breaking up with me and then getting with my friend. So I would say that was my first breakup. Why do we take advantage of those who genuinely want to love us? I don't know, but I'll tell you what I did consciously. I looking back at a lot of ways where I took advantage of people that wanted to love me, and I just kind of did everything I could to push them away. It was my own fear, honestly, fear that I was not lovable. So I self-sabotage, which is why I'm easily able to point it out, because, I once did it too. And that's why you have grace for those that do it, but don't allow them to do it to you, to prevent yourself from being near that, avoiding the unhappy and the unlucky. But taking advantage of those who love us it's never about them. It's certainly about you. Yes, one can surmise the term ego. You can say ego has something to do with it. I don't see the lie there. But fear, honestly, I truly believe it's just fear. Fear that you weren't good enough. Fear that they're going to leave you just like everybody else did. So I'm going to leave you before you leave me. And I'm not going to let you get close enough to me to where this shit can hurt. Everything is all cool in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we'll meet up and talk and shit like that. But once you start catching feelings, and now you're trying, once you catch feelings from, I believe for me, with the, just, you can call it, let's call it trauma. Yeah, I believe that when we experience trauma, we try to right the wrongs within others, so we become controlling. I know I did. I know I can have that tendency of trying to control something or someone to prevent myself from being hurt. That's really what it is. So yeah, still that fear. That's why I say it's more fear than anything else. Ego is like a subcategory, but it's underlining up the fear. And but you, depending on where you came from, you repeat what you saw done unknowingly. And I know a lot of us have done that. I've definitely just mirrored what I saw in many ways, and without knowing why I'm doing it. It's not a conscious thing. It's like a subconscious thing that I'm doing. And when you can take time to kind of reflect on said behavior and ask yourself, why did you do that? Why did you talk to her that way? Why did you push her away when she was genuinely trying to show that she was there for you? And you have to own up to it. And that's, I like to think that I did. Definitely just a lot of owning up. There were many young ladies that I dated that were, I would say that they complimented my life. They did. They definitely were a compliment to my life. But because of how emotionally immature I was very, very young, and I was very, very scared. I was very much afraid to allow anyone to get close to me. So I'm going to keep these walls up. I wasn't building boundaries like with a healthy door for you to open up. I'm talking about complete wall, the Great Wall of China size. You're not getting through. It's not going to happen. And if you try to get through, I'll put one of these dogs on you. You know what I'm saying? Doberman, Great Dane. You know what I'm saying? I got pit bulls. I dare you to try to get close to me. It's not going to happen. And it was a scare tactic. It was a defense mechanism. Like, you were trying to prevent yourself from being that vulnerable again. And but the way God and His universe works, man, when you're not looking for something, that's when these motherfuckers show up. and they treat you with kindness. They're willing to learn you. You know what I'm saying? They show you they show genuine interest into you. And at a young age, it's not prepared for that. You are going to sabotage one way or another, especially if you came from feeling like, you weren't lovable and you didn't really get that much type of nurturing, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you want something so bad that you fear that it's going to be taken away, so you don't even want to bother with it. And I know I've done that on multiple occasions of, you know, just my life, and it's not something I'm proud of. It's just like, it's an observation that that's what I found myself doing, because being unsure of who to trust. And I think that's a common thing for all of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, truth be told, we can never trust anybody 100%. The only person we can trust is ourselves. And how many times have we fell short of ourselves, you know what I'm saying, to take care of ourselves? So who are we to be so upset with someone else when even we let ourselves down, you know? But selfishly, we don't care at the time. We're going through it. No, you fucked me over. Not saying how much that you fucked yourself over. How many times have we cheated ourselves? How many times have we abandoned ourselves, betrayed ourselves? We betray ourselves. Some of us betray ourselves on a daily. And we got the nerve to be upset with somebody else because they betrayed us and shit. And it's like, you have the same grace that you give to yourself to them, and have the same grace that you give to them to yourself. I want to say it's just not having a solid, like, you're so used to seeing fuck shit go down, right? When you're used to seeing fuck shit go down, you have a tendency to go navigate towards that because that's familiar to you. You know, that I really think that's what it boils down to. When somebody comes in your life and tries to love you and you've never felt like you were loved before, that shit is spooky. It is freaky. It is so many other synonyms, but it's just a certain feeling that you get when you do have somebody that tries to love you, and you're used to havoc, you're used to pain, you're used to people doing things to cause pain and calling it love. So when those genuine people that come and try to love us, man, it's like, what are you doing? What's the jig? You know, what's the angle? Why are you doing this? Why are you hugging me? Why are you asking me how I'm doing in the morning? You know, these things, you know, that come up, and you question the healthy form of love. Meanwhile, you go back to the unhealthy form of love. And then once you get that unhealthy form of love again, and then you see the end result, and it's the same thing almost every time, and all these different outcomes, but you've seen it before. And then you just go back to the same statement of saying, see, I'm not lovable. But we keep doing the same shit. So if you don't change the outcome, if you don't change the way you see something, you know, change your perspective on it, change a choice that you've made before, of course you're going to get the same result. And a lot of us have to work on that. We have to work on changing our different choices so that we can get different things. It's like those games or whatever, I forget the name of it, but it's almost like scenario and shit. Those scenario type games, I think they made them like for high school and shit. Like, John does this, you got a choice to, you know, you can like Stacy, Deborah, Kimmy, whatever, and then that determines that thing. And once you make that choice, you determine that thing. And a lot of us keep making familiar choices, and we get familiar things when we make familiar choices. But if we can have the courage to choose something that is a little bit out of the comfort zone and more on a healthy route, perhaps we get a different result than what we've seen before. It all boils down to fear, afraid, and bleeding onto others who did not cut me, projecting my pain onto others. Everything I try to be against to this day. Most of the time I'm having mirror talk. When I say avoid the unhappy and unlucky, I'm even talking about myself. You know what I'm saying? I allow myself to think in a negative way. It's like a training thing I like to do for myself, is to avoid doing that, to prevent one's mind from going down that path, so that we can stay on, on a healthier path, make better decisions, and have peace. Not so much live in chaos. We've had enough of that. If you've lived through it enough, lived through enough chaos, man, you understand why people want peace when they get to a certain point in life. So, I believe that's why we do that to people that that try to love us because we're used to pain, we're used to chaos, we're used to fuck shit going on, and that's familiar to us. It might not be comfortable, but we're used to it. You know what I'm saying? Used to being shortchanged on shit, used to being overlooked, used to not being loved in an affectionate manner, and questioning whether or not if it's safe. So it's understandable. It's all understandable. But anyway, that concludes this episode. But thank you guys for listening in, watching. If you are watching, be sure to share a review with us, just for the, like, you know, set the stars review. If you want to write a written one too, you can do that. There's a link inside the description of this episode, but be sure to just share a review with us. Be sure to click like on the episode. Love whatever, sharing your timeline. If you're on Facebook watching it, if it's YouTube, just, you know, love, subscribe, all of that, you know what I mean? But be sure to check out, getting back to the podcast game. We just knocked out a few this past week. So be sure to check out those links in the description, as well as all the content that's on the Ask Rome YouTube series 2.0 Facebook page. But I'm Romy Mac, and this is Ask Rome, and I'm out. Good night, kids.